Have you experienced fear of flying? Although uncommon, plane accidents are still a source of fear to the unknown and being trapped without any chance to escape. The entry we will review today deals with this exact situation, a terrifying event aboard an airplane in which only the frightened passengers can avoid a collision with an unknown catastrophe. Item number SCP-616. Object Class Gather. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-616 is to be kept inside. While grounded, repair personnel of a clearance level of 2 or above are allowed to enter the craft, and must conduct thorough pre-flight inspections to ascertain that SCP-616 is ready for flight. However, repair personnel are to maintain a distance of at least 3 meters from SCP-616-1. On flight days, only ordained and believing ministers of an Abrahamic faith with security clearance of level 4 or above may enter the aircraft, and must remain at least 0.94 meters, 3 feet 1 inch, from the threshold of SCP-616-1 at all times, whilst the craft is grounded. SCP-616-1 should be kept from closing at all costs once activated. This necessitates a monthly manned flight. Failure to keep SCP-616-1 from closing will require initiation of Procedure 600 choking. Each flight, 7 archbishops, ordained and believing in an Abrahamic faith, must surround SCP-616-1. Prayer directed at SCP-616-1 is to be sustained during the whole duration of the flight, usually 3 to 7 hours. Prayer must be sustained by all able subjects, but once SCP-616-1 has activated, previously established distance restrictions no longer apply. Subjects are in fact encouraged to try to physically stop SCP-616-1 from closing, though extreme caution must be taken to keep any personnel from falling through the threshold, as that will likely result in. In addition, one Foundation agent, trained in flying commercial aircraft, is to pilot SCP-616 through a predestined flight path, and must be able to maintain radio contact and information of events in SCP-616. Under no circumstances is the pilot cleared to approach SCP-616-1 once flight has begun. All personnel should be supplied with any religious paraphernalia they request before flight time. No extraneous personnel are to be present during flight for any reason, as they will likely be killed by SCP-616's activation and provide corpses for reanimation or. The Roman Catholic Pope, or a similar Abrahamic religious figure, must bless the aircraft in accordance with the appropriate religious ceremony once per full year. The official must report to the Foundation and arrive physically at the containment site at least 3 days prior to the year elapsing. Failure to do so may result in the door opening, resulting in. In the unlikely event that any official misses the ceremony, a substitute of equal rank must be on hand to replace him or her. Furthermore, 2. Nuclear devices with a combined yield of megatons are to be armed inside the aircraft at all times. In the event of an XK-class end-of-the-world scenario, or if the door closes during flight, resulting in. Or transfer hostile beings in large numbers, these devices are to be detonated if Procedure 600 choking cannot be enacted. Those with clearance level 4 or higher, please see document SCP-616 CP3. Description: SCP-616 is a prototype Boeing designed by and constructed on 16/06/1966 to specifications, though superficially similar to the Boeing 737, which went into service shortly afterwards. SCP-616's model had various internal alterations, including. Despite the various alterations, the most important feature of SCP-616 is the center-left emergency door, which has been dubbed SCP-616-1. SCP-616-1 is a standard emergency door, though partially covered in extensive markings associated with satanic cults adhering to. SCP-616-1 can be opened without major incident when grounded, and leads to the outside of the aircraft as expected. However, this is discouraged, as nearly all personnel opening and or passing through the door have reported severe anxiety problems and a persistent feeling of being watched. Long-term observation of exposure to SCP-616 is not recommended. Observation using any sort of electronic device is satisfactory while SCP-616 is grounded, though some visual anomalies have been recorded, including. As such, it is advised that personnel known to have a high tolerance to disturbing imagery be assigned to observation duty and work no longer than 3 consecutive days. All personnel involved in the repairs, observation, operation, or flight of SCP-616 must submit to psychological evaluations after each period of exposure. SCP-616-1 will autonomously open once every 30 days and begin to close. This event can be considered the activation of SCP-616-1. The speed at which SCP-616-1 closes is highly dependent on SCP-616's altitude, velocity, and it should be timed so that SCP-616-1 opens in mid-flight at an altitude of approximately 10,972 meters and a speed of about 780 kilometers per hour. Failure to properly time this event is catastrophic, since SCP-616-1 closing fully while grounded could affect all life forms within an unknown radius, causing potentially hundreds of, posing severe threats to population centers and requiring immediate use of Procedure 600 choking. Please see document SCP-616-DE2 for further information on an effective means of termination. Once SCP-616-1 spontaneously opens, cabin pressure will destabilize as expected, and extreme turbulence is encountered. At various points during the flight, all present personnel might feel as if SCP-616 is quickly falling, though it has been ascertained that SCP-616 remains in relatively stable crossing conditions during all times, including during the time of these events. SCP-616-1's opening may cause certain individuals present to suffer fatal heart attacks or corpses with an undamaged larynx present within SCP-616 once SCP-616-1 activates, seemingly reanimate for the duration of the flight. The corpses remain largely immobile and as such pose no physical threat, but are capable of speech. These speaking corpses should be terminated if possible, as their speech poses potential psychological dangers, as well as enable SCP-616-1's closing via. The language spoken by these reanimated corpses remains unidentified. Addendum 616-01. The airliner series never went into service, as the various anomalous events surrounding SCP-616's test flights were reported as various design failures. All plans and blueprints have been seized by the Foundation. It is now believed these designs were entirely intentional and done under no external compulsion. Recovered documents from the construction process describe Addendum 616-02. on. A remote controller rover obtained footage from within SCP-616-1. All personnel who viewed the footage directly committed suicide by various means within a 2-month period. A security tape of the video with the recording playing did not cause any death, despite containing full sound and color recordings of the footage. It displayed a video of a small child violently being within a dark, red room. All further attempts to observe past the event horizon have yielded similar results, and such expeditions are no longer permitted. Addendum 616-03. Interview logs pertaining to SCP-616 are available in Document Interview 616-AM. Document SCP-616 CP3. Note: Experience level 4 or higher required. Though the current containment procedures specify the necessity of Abrahamic faith and prayer to keep SCP-616-1 from closing, this necessity is in fact fabricated. After various interviews with a single test run, and it was determined that the belief in one's ability to keep SCP-616-1 open was ultimately the critical component to being able to accomplish the deed. However, it seems individuals in possession of this fact fare worse than individuals who are not at keeping SCP-616-1 open. Whether this is due to properties of SCP-616-1 or human psychology is unknown. In regards to this problem, Dr. suggested using religion as an abundant and efficient way to harness belief. The current satanic markings were in fact added by the Foundation. The requirement of an Abrahamic leader's blessing, as well as using ordained Abrahamic preachers for the act itself, are all for the benefit of maintaining morale and reinforcing belief. This method has proven successful, as each flight since the first has had fewer casualties and a shorter duration. End the law. Anomalies are not always easy to comprehend. The events surrounding SCP-616-1 are carefully censored by the SCP Foundation in order to keep the procedures and the effects of the event hidden. They even went as far as to spread false containment procedures amongst their own personnel. Luckily, we have been able to dig additional documentation regarding the possible origins and effect of this anomaly that will be revealed in future entries. In the meantime, remember to believe in yourselves and always face your fears. I am Virus Anonymous. We are the GOC, and you have been informed.